A little bit of a rushed pass there to Ralston. I don't think he was expecting it. Turnover, Johns Hopkins.
I thought Carolina did a good job that time jamming Collison and not letting him get ahead of his steam. There was contact right on ball movement, and if you let 16 in blue get momentum, it's good night.
9 goals, 5 assists for Collison so far. This is Brevin Wilson being hounded by Luke Martin. 13 in blue, long stick midfielder, and a lazy pass. Gets picked off by Rory Cahoon. Short stick D midi for Johns Hopkins. Here comes Hopkins. Parker Sorensen, he can shoot. He does, and he scores. And a flag flies as Johns Hopkins, with the pole goal, starts the party here in Chapel Hill.
This is a terrible turnover by Wilson. A basic exchange and a floater of a pass, and it's off to the races. And the Jays know they have numbers, and then Sorensen, the freshman, close defender. He gives you so many opportunities in terms of the flexibility in guarding opposing teams' top cover guys. Like he's the guy.
Yeah, took the wing on the opening face-off, and Joe Bresci told us this week, Kark, that they've really been pointing towards Hopkins to really unleash him, let him go full throttle after that knee injury. This is only the 3rd time this season that North Carolina has trailed. Hagerup picks up, gets inside, shoots and scores as the flags fly. Leif Hagerup, short stick defensive midfielder extraordinaire, gets to the goal line and shows off his offensive chops.
You love to see Hagerup get rewarded, because this guy probably logs more minutes than any player on the Carolina team. You put him on the GPS, it's off the charts. He's up and down playing short stick D-midi. And this time in the clear game, he stays on with a beautiful goal in the crease awareness, not to enter the crease before.
New York had 3 goals in a scrimmage against St. Joe's, and then got his first collegiate tally against Loyola a week ago. And so Peter Milliman's sticking with that second midfield unit that they rolled out last week after it was kind of a cast of like 8 or 9 guys in the first couple of games.
You have to let these freshmen grow up. And speaking of freshmen, Carolina runs a whole freshman group as their second midfield.
And they're on the field right now. Dom Petramala gets his hands free and evades the check, and he pastes the upper 90. Dom Petramala with his first of the ball game.
He was a Hopkins killer a year ago at 6. The intuition to feel backside pressure. Petro hits it. 5 in 2007.
Incredible. My 4 years at Hopkins, Kark, the only team we never beat, North Carolina.
Wow.
0 for 5, including a loss in the 1993 semifinals, championship weekend at College Park.
Well, you ran into that 91 team that was
They were,
undefeated.
and that team is low-key maybe the most underrated when you talk about best teams of all time, you know, teams that ran the table.
They were a team. They had all the pieces. They ran like 5 or 6 attackmen.
Yep. We used to joke, or our coach, Tony Seaman, would say, we don't think they run midfield lines. They just think whoever's closest to the box goes in the game. As Owen Duffy, off of the end line, just outraces his defender and puts the backhand in the back of the cage, and Carolina has settled in quite nicely.
I love this dodge by Duffy. You see how he sets it up? A little bit of a nice plant foot, getting the defense to force him to his offhand. He's a righty, so they want to flush him up to his left side. He says, dare me. Okay. He goes up there and he gets that step, and then that backhand gives him the ability to have.
The Tar Heels turned the ball over at a pretty significant clip in the first 6 minutes of the game, but they've since regrouped. And now Hopkins attacking. Shot by Charlie Eiler. That's what you wanted to see.
That's what I wanted, but Prohaska, 33 in white, with an excellent timed lift. Right when Eiler's about to shoot, he just gets in the gloves and timed that check perfectly.
Hopkins mixing and matching their midfielders right now. Jamison Smith back on the pitch with Sean Krogan, number 17 in blue. And there's a step in from Jimmy Ayers. A rocket to the top shelf. Hopkins cuts the lead to 1.
When he toe dragged, or when he began It's a toe drag. You smelled it right here. That is a defensive sellout, and Ayers just sniffs this out. And a vulnerable defensive approach allows him to just get nasty and dirty and absolutely hammer. One time in that possession did I think Hopkins had a good look. No goals in over 9 minutes for UNC. Hopkins was on that drought. Now UNC trying to find some groove offensively. And I don't think either team has found anything in terms of just flow offensively.
And you follow Carolina, caught a lot of their games last year, Paul. We saw it toward the end of the year against Notre Dame, against Richmond in the NCAA tournament. Good first quarters for Carolina, then the offense just kind of fell off a little bit. Don Petramala off the feed, low to high, into the back of the cage. Instant offense, 77 in white, gets the lead back up to a pair for Carolina.
We talk about volume shooters on the other side with Chavette. Last year when Petramala had 6 goals against Hopkins, 16 shots, you have to feed 77 the rock. And I love his instincts tonight. One time it was the backside pressure. This time he feels like there's a front side opportunity. He's really, really dialed in.
Now with the influx of talent and the returners back on that short stick
but you
mid
have
spot.
To be smart and give him those offensive opportunities,
sure,
Dixie, because you're going to trap offensive middies. Like if he's a D midi that can score, he'll trap offensive middies and force them to play defense. And he's good enough offensively to really take advantage of that.
When he's got the trust of the coaching staff and the green light to stay on and push it. We mentioned Souček against Jacksonville. English was big in that game in the transition to get some goals in those unsettled situations. Desquee, the worm burner, finds its way past Josh Marcus, and the freshman, the quick answer for the Jays.
We've had droughts with both teams, not able to hit the back of the net. And Desquee, we mentioned earlier, just give this freshman opportunities. He's gonna make some mistakes, but he has those high volume type of opportunities where he can cash in. Ranked 1 in the country last year. They're playing the best teams nationally. But Desquee is the type of player, if you're Peter Milliman, he's gonna make some mistakes. You saw it earlier in the first quarter. But just understand that the potential is really high for him.
Really high ceiling. The Johns Hopkins Nation is very excited for him. Talk about balance. 7 goals by 6 different players so far in the game. Petramala being guarded by the short stick of McDonald. Quick slide. Souček being guarded by Burke. Behind the cage, and Souček, those long arms. Gets his stick upfield, whips it far post. And number 1 in white gets the Tar Heels back up by 2.
I think this could separate Carolina this year. Their midfielders and their ability to invert. Watching tape over the first 3 games, I saw a lot of Gary Merrill doing it, Luke Macaluso doing it, Mason Souček doing it. They can take defensive.
D midi is Dad Andy, terrific player back in the day. Duffy, little rocker step, sails it over the crossbar. 20 seconds to shoot for Carolina.
Move. They dared Duffy to go left, and he still found his right hand, just by the way he set that dodge up. A little bit of a drift behind there, and just got him to bite up a little bit.
Bear being hounded by DeSico. 8 seconds to shoot. It's Kilrain versus Duffy.
He's got to go. He's got to go here. Got to know the clock. Got to know the clock.
Duffy gets it off and he sticks it. Referees look at each other. They signal goal. Carolina now enjoying their largest lead, courtesy of Owen Duffy, who rifles it with virtually no angle and no time.
You got to know the clock. You got to know the clock. Owen Duffy says, I know the clock. I mean, that's incredible awareness. The ball leaves his stick, Mark, prior to it being counted down to 0. That is a little bit to get the defense to shift and then dodge. You know, this is interesting too. Well, Carolina's sticking with man right now. They're not in the zone. So they're stay in man, so they're starting with Rawson. But I think it has to end with Collison. He's your big boy. He's your first team All-American type player. He's a top 3 midfielder nationally. So he's got to get the look here.
Collison is being guarded by Toman, 5 in white. Collison 16 in blue. Rawson bullying his way in, gets free and scores. just backing down like a power forward in basketball, gets the separation and then hammers it home with 8.5 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Who would have thought 170-pound Chuck Rawson would be playing bully ball, right? You look right now, they're supporting this matchup with nothing, really. They're putting Ty English on an island to defend Rawson, thinking that he's not the threat. Rawson sniffs that out, and he just goes in the slide, or the late slide has
the ball. Dixon with the ride, Rawson clears it. Kind of a little bit of a hasty decision by Ty English.
I thought so as well. I mean, he played defense, then came on, stayed on offense, which you want him to do, but a little bit of a force.
What? And a goal! Hopkins makes him pay on the other end.
Back-to-back hidden ball tricks. They did it last week against Loyola. They do it tonight. They have your eyes peeled somewhere else. They have my eyes peeled somewhere else.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And Hopkins, Rawson, and Eric Chick pull off the hidden ball to perfection.
Something else. Wow. Last week against Loyola, and look at Josh Marcus's reaction. He thinks Chick has it the entire way. And Rawson slings it from deep. And I'll tell you what, when you...
Through that pick, Petramala now on a short stick. Engages, rears back and fires. Misses the cage, 23 seconds left on the shot clock.
Here's Duffy behind the goal. Let's see how Hopkins decides to play 8 and white here. They've been flushing him to his left hand consistently.
Duffy gets topside, drops the ball. Colin Brown with the cause turnover. Sorensen now, dangerous pass picked up by Petramala, who scores. Petramala snares it. The errant pass gives 77 in white Dom Petramala the hat trick.
That is a disaster for Johns Hopkins. Heading into today's game, they've had one blown clear the entire season. And just a basic transfer to your freshman goalie. If you're going to throw that back to Dash Lamedy, he's got to be way deeper towards the end line. He can't be there. If he's the outlet there, he has to be flushed out well away.
Since 02.
Yep, mark my words. Sorensen, who tried the pass attempt to Lamedy, that won't happen again. That is a teachable moment for 2 freshmen. Like, Jamison Kester is going to go over that time and time again, so that doesn't happen again. So if Sorensen's in that area, he peels away, he rolls back from the pressure, he goes deeper, and then Lamedy, who's the outlet, goes way deeper, away from the offensive player in that lane.
One failed clear for each of these ball clubs. We talked about the importance of special teams, and Dom Petramala is feeling it. Steps in with the right hand, spins away, gets it back to the left, and puts it low to low past Lamedy, and the tide has shifted.
It shifted because of a mishap. And I've seen Dom Petramala from this spot so many times, and I can't tell you how many times he's gone from a low release to a high shot. And this time he keeps it low to low. He is such a skilled shooter based on having multiple release points, but also changes levels off of all those release points. You can't scout that. Because how many times you've watched Petramala, how many times from that release point have you seen the ball go high?
Not a lot.
I mean, he's...
Well, actually, all the time. What am I saying? All the time.
Not a lot low to low.
Yeah.
Which tells me he's got that in his bag.
Garbage goal, some way, somehow. We just talked about Olympic hockey. And a loose ball ends up in the back of the cage. Carolina had scored 2 goals in 44 seconds. We've got to look at the replay.
This is how Hopkins has to win this game. They have to muck it up at the face-off X and make it a 3-on-3. And this time they do, and sometimes the ball bounces your way.
Charlie Hazard.
If you tie up
a thing, like go through the brick wall with
like Petramala,
the pace of that shot.
He'll go high from that same spot last week against Loyola. He's ripping it high to high.
Rawson back to Collison. Collison, head of steam. He's feeling it. Steps in. Just goes wide. Looked like it ricocheted off his teammate behind the cage, Charlie Eiler. Chavette picks up the ground ball. 91 in blue being guarded by Chase Salucci. 88 in white.
they're making sure they're pressing out on him when he's adjacent. When the ball is next to 91, they know he's a shooter, like Dom Petramala. You got to press out on him.
Ross in the vision. Little sidestep shot to goal. There it is. Hunter Chavette. From your mouth to his ears, 91 in blue gets his first of the contest.
Carolina has been spectacular playing Chavette adjacent to the ball. Well, this time they're sliding a little late, but they're also sloughed in the crease, and 91 makes you pay. And that's having fun. These guys are doing this on their own. That is not a set play by Peter Milliman in the offense at all.
Somewhere in the Philadelphia area, Joel Tenney is smiling.
Yes.
Pulled that one off against Navy a handful of years ago.
And Quint Kesnick, I was on that call.
Yeah.
He had it. He said, he's got the goalie, he's got the goalie, he's got the goalie. He's all over those.
You can't get much past Quint.
He's undefeated when it comes to
the eyes of a goalie. Petramala gets a short stick defense of DeSico. Fights through it, weaving his way to the cage, and Dom Petramala will not be denied. Right down Keenan Drive. Carolina back up by a pair.
DeSico leads the Blue Jays in caused turnovers. He's been great defending, but he hasn't defended the likes of Dom Petramala. I just thought he got into the body way too much rather than squaring up. He tried to play the leverage game and kind of hook.
All freshman line back out on the field for the Tar Heels. Brevin Wilson under the defense of Eric McDonald. So Johns Hopkins going 4-5 deep here at the short stick D-midi position, as has North Carolina. Nice move, Rayo.
He's the guy that I feel really can pop. Number 2 in the nation in terms of national rankings in recruiting. He's an elite high school football wide receiver.
As we get Rayo on cue.
Yep.
Right down the alley, bounces it home. And all of a sudden, North Carolina is back up by 3.
This is why I'm saying you got to get him going. He pops different. He pops different. In the fall, he was dominant against Richmond in the scrimmage. He is the type of player that can dominate.
Dose of this first midfield line of Rawson, Collison, and this man, number 25 in blue, Brooks English.
Carolina's doing a really nice job of forcing weak hands.
Duffy's caught on defense, and now he's on Collison.
You got to get the ball if you're Collison. You got to.
Duffy's working hard to shut him off. Yeah.
But now they're going to switch. That give it to English. Like, trap Duffy, make him play defense.
They give it back to Rawson.
You got to stick this matchup, Mark.
Rawson left hand, good job by Duffy, falls down. Little pass, English the one more. Behind the cage, front swing, it's Eiler, he sticks it. Tremendous ball movement, nets the goal for Hopkins.
There's 2 ways you could beat a defense, with brute force and dodging ability, or just forcing a defense to commit, and then you spin the ball not once, not twice, but 3 times. And that's been the calling card for Johns Hopkins in 2026. When they're at their best, it's an initial dodge, and it's 1, 2, 3 passes.
Eiler, his 5th goal of the season. That is his first tonight.
I actually thought Duffy was playing good defense.
I thought he was too.
But his team was so anxious to slide and support him.
Gotta be.
He's not accustomed to playing on that side of the field.
Right.
I don't think they had the faith in him, which I don't doubt. He's an attacker, right?
Yep. Face-off win initially by Hopkins. Picked up by Wambach. He comes right down. Keenan Drive and sticks it. Brady Wambach. Dan Shepard won the face-off. The wings dislodged it, and Wambach does the rest.
This should be the recipe for Hopkins winning face-offs, right? Jumping Wambach instead. Carolina, wing play in effect. Looks like Wambach freezes the defense just for an extra bite or 2.
The last 9 face-offs, so that little stretch of success for Hopkins has been mitigated. And this first midfield checking back in for Carolina with 30 seconds left to go here in the 3rd period. What a great one we have here from Dorrance Field in Chapel Hill. 20 seconds. It's Matten. Puts his head down. Big righty. Looking across. It was high, but it was caught by Macaluso, and he hammers it home. Matten with the vision. Macaluso with the catch and the goal. And Carolina has their largest lead of the ball game.
Matten's been an attackman his whole career, a righty bull dodger. That is a sweet cross-field pass there. This is high difficulty, and Macaluso, who's not the tallest guy in the world, reaches for this. And as he reaches, it's almost like
having a great game tonight. Salucci and Asheim, the other two who have held down the fort in front of goaltender Josh Marcus, the freshman. Duffy against Brown. Goes to the cage, little stutter step move, spin back, and he scores! Paints the corner. Owen Duffy gets that separation. Sends it far post again. Got back to his right hand.
flush him out, lefty, he makes you pay. This is the hardest variation of the question mark. So the question mark, normally you have your feet planted. While he's in the air, like he never has his base, the level of difficulty of this move is big time because he has no center, he has no base. A lot of times when you have a question, any base or core.
UNC on a 5-1 run. You said at the top of the game, Owen Duffy, his game has evolved. Coming into tonight, 4 goals and 11 assists. What has he shown you in terms of still being able to get to the rack?
Well, last week, he showed me that he could be a big-time passer when he had 5 assists in a game. And this week, he's winning as a Dodger again. So he's showing me that he is the complete attacker. You play him as a Dodger, he'll beat you as a passer. You play him as a passer and you don't slide off him, well, then he beats you as a Dodger and a scorer. And tonight, he's been a big-time smart Dodger. Priest scores one.
Andrew Price continues the excellent start to his 2026 season.
Price has played some extra man. He's played on the top 2 midfield units. You talk about a guy who's a little bit of a jack of all trades. Price has game. Young player, long to deal with.
Anthony Rayo steps in. There you see that big split again from Dash Lamedy.
You gotta get Anthony Rayo going. I think his upside's as high as any freshman in the country. I think he's incredible. Imagine being Jimmy Muley, who coaches 91, the club team on the pound, and you have Gary Merrill and Anthony Rayo in the same midfield. Wilson,
nice look inside from Bear. Lamedy makes the save.
Who am I giving the ball to in this one? Am I giving it to Gary Merrill? Am I giving it to Rayo?
And off of another monumental mistake. That's really the play that turned this game around. The Dom Pedramalo goal early in the 3rd quarter off of the failed clear.
Yes.
Hopkins continuing to have trouble in that area.
You just felt that turnover you were talking about in the 3rd quarter. That game was nip and tuck, and you think any team really was able to go on a run. But the blown clears. And this
to remember on that restart, you have to give 5 yards, but that's one of the few things that has gone wrong here in the 2nd half. Hopkins now another goal scoring drought. They haven't had a score in over 11 minutes.
91 and blue is going to want to let one go.
Yeah. Snappy ball movement. There it is. Chavette lets one fly into the Chapel Hill Knight.
You know what's remarkable about his release, too, is how he can get under a defender.
Yeah.
The defender showing to the top side to stop him from letting that lefty hammer go. He could slip it underneath, a lot like Mac O'Keefe could.
Sharpshooter from Penn State. That's a hammer from Jimmy Ayers. Stops the bleeding momentarily. They did what they had to do. They took advantage of the North Carolina miscue, and they crawl back to within 6. Johns Hopkins.
Jimmy Ayers is going to get a ton of looks because if you look at the 2 players next to him in the extra man rotation, it's Collison and it's Chavette. So,
okay, let's see what these 2 teams are made of. I think there's a little, to your point, how does Duke handle the Dolphins, who are going to be hungry? They're going to be flying around the field.
I think Duke just brings it defensively, and Patrick Jamison also is a really underrated goalie. I mean, he's back for his third year starting. He's only a junior, so I think Duke's a team you better watch. Ben Johnson is a specimen. That guy shoots with both hands harder than any team player in the country.
Wilson across to Matten. Nice little fake. Plants his feet, puts it home.
That's a rip.
That is a good shot from James Matten, the senior, number 7 in white, out of Kensington, Maryland.
You know what's interesting, Mark? The two best plays of the night for Matten are his feed and now this goal. And they're from diagonal spots on the offensive set. That tells me this guy's comfortable. They attack this flawless in the middle of the field, and they weren't. I still think this team has potential and could be a big problem in the Big Ten because they're super skilled. Rawson and English and the slick sticks, Chavette, like Ayers and Isla. These guys are really, really slick. And then you throw the big dog in Collison. This is an offense that I think is gonna flourish. Defensively, they have some questions, and Lamedy, this is a learning experience for him. He's going to have to grow from this tough moment.
Hopkins chasing. The freshmen are eating. Merrill, little BTB to Luke Bear. He hammers it home.
I love how Joe Bresci kept all these freshmen together, because this is going to be a line that flourishes now for 4 years, right? He did this in the past. That was a nice pass by Gary Merrill, who's rated the 3rd recruit in the country. Luke Baird is a top 20 recruit, and then Rayo, the 2nd rated recruit.